Hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Carrie. I'm a 29-year-old vegan living in Bristol, UK, and I've been vegan for just over 8 years now. I live with my partner who is not vegan, but he eats vegan at home with me. My channel focuses on budget and frugal living as a vegan in the UK. I do grocery shopping, I go through what I've eaten for the week and all that good stuff. And I've been doing a challenge series over the last few weeks where I go into UK supermarkets and see if I can get 7 breakfasts, 7 lunches, and 7 dinners, so 21 meals altogether for only £15. So far, it's been going pretty well, and this week we are focusing on Tesco. Now, Tesco has a firm place in my heart because they are the OGs for their loyalty schemes. So I have been a Tesco Club Card member for as long as I've lived in England, okay? Like, I love Club Card. I love getting the points. I love the Club Card prices these days. Like, honestly, I'm a Club Card fiend. And I will say, Lidl Plus have turned my head a bit because they do good deals too, but Tesco's just the original for it, honestly. So I pretty much exclusively shopped at Tesco during my university years because I did not live near an Aldi or a Lidl until my fourth and final year. But other than that, it was a Tesco online delivery with my housemates, making up to the £40. So I was always a Tesco shopper, and that made me feel pretty confident going into this week because I know they're reasonable. I know that Club Card prices really help out a lot. And this week, I have to say, I was not disappointed. I got some really good stuff this week. And I actually have 2 different breakfast options this week, which is the first time I've switched up a breakfast. So that's quite exciting. So do stick around and watch what I make to see the 2 breakfast items. And I did just want to say as well, I will have some personal, exciting news at the end of this video. So if you're not interested in the personal news, don't worry. I'll let you know at the end when you can just sign off. But for those who are interested, that will be at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's see what I got. Hello everyone, this is the week's grocery haul from Tesco. I think I've done pretty well, although I have gone a bit more back to basics this week with kind of whole foods rather than those fake meats, but all meals and options that I really enjoy. My partner less so, so I think I'll be eating all of this food solo potentially this week, but that's okay. So this will feed one person for 7 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But obviously, there are 2 people in my household. So I show you the meals that I make and what I spend. But generally, he helps me eat them as well. But this week, I think it might be more of a solo venture. But yeah, that's okay. So I'll just get right into it. The first thing I'm going to show you are these blueberries because they need to go in the freezer ASAP. 350 grams of blueberries frozen for 225, and that means that I can have like a 50-gram serving of these each day, which I think is pretty good. So I'm going to put these in the freezer quickly and then come back. Okay, that's the blueberries out of the way, and actually that was my only frozen item of this haul. So I will start here with this cauldron tofu. Wouldn't normally get the brand, I'd get the Tesco brand, the supermarket own, but actually this was on Club Card offer this week, which means that for 396 grams it was £1.50 on Club Card, which is a 75p saving from the normal price, which is really good, and it was 45p cheaper than the Tesco own, so great. I did splurge on some guac this week. I do have burrito bowls coming up, and I looked at if I bought avocado or if I bought guac, and this just made more sense when you're doing it on a weekly budget. But probably monthly, then avocados, and you can get a couple more would be the way to go. But anyway, this was £1.25 for this pot, and it's clearly marked vegan. Some have milk in, so do check, but the Tesco one is definitely vegan and it's clearly labelled as such on the front, which is really helpful. Next are these small bananas. There are 6 of them and they price match these to Aldi. So these were only 75p for 6 bananas. Next were these onions. I got 3 onions this week and you can get them loose in Tesco, which is great for your budget. And that cost me 36p for those 3. Next was this cucumber, which again will be going in the burrito bowls. And the cucumber again was price matched, and that was at 89p for the whole cucumber. My greens this week is going to be this cabbage. I did look at the spring greens again as well, but this was actually 10p cheaper. So the cabbage was 69p, and yeah, that was price matched to Aldi and Lidl. Next were these sweet potatoes. So I got a kilo of sweet potatoes this week, and they were on Club Card offer for only £1, which is really good. And then next are these carrots. You know that carrots in a budget like this are just so good and nutritionally dense and everything. So very, very happy with those for 69p for a kilo. Next are these Natco red lentils, and this week Ramadan begins, so a lot of the world food section today had lots of Club Card prices, and I assume that will be for the duration of Ramadan. So I would very much recommend you go into your world foods aisle in Tesco's and have a look at what they've got on Club Card. This is 500 grams and it was £1.25 for 500 grams. So that was 25p off the regular price. And I will say as well, again, if you're doing a monthly haul rather than a weekly, then getting the bigger packs of these would have a better cost saving because they were on Club Card as well. So yeah, if you've got a monthly budget in mind, then definitely bigger than the 500 gram would be the way to go. But I was pleased at £1.25 for 500 grams. I think that's still a really good deal. Next, long grain rice, 52p. It is the same price pretty much everywhere. Not a lot to say on that. That's just going to be helpful. Next, now these were not on my list. I had planned to get black beans and they didn't have any in stock. They were completely out. So instead, I got these black eyed beans. I really do like a black eyed bean as well. I would say black bean is probably my favorite, but these come a close second. So I was quite happy with those and they were 49p per tin. And then I just got 2 tins of chopped tomatoes and these were 39p. They're the Growers Harvest own brand. That's the cheap brand in Tesco. And they were 39p each, which again is the same price as any other supermarket. Next, porridge. A kilo of oats for 90 pence. And again, same price as Aldi, Lidl, all other major supermarkets that price match. And then finally, I got these soya chunks. Now, I got these in a different brand from Morrison's when I did the Morrison's week, and that was 150 grams for £1.09. However, in Tesco, I've got 250 grams, and you can see on the front actually it marks clearly vegan as well, so that's just helpful for people who aren't sure. But this is 250 grams for £1.10. So for 1p more, you're getting 100 grams more of the chunks, which is honestly unreal. So I'd really recommend that you go to Tesco to get your soya chunks because that is a much better deal. So those, like I say, were £1.10. And that is everything that I bought this week. So the budget came out at £14.91. So 9p left over. I didn't have to do too much kind of jiggery pokery to get it to what I had planned. It was really only the beans today that I had to change, but they were the same price as the black beans anyway, so that wasn't an issue at all. So I am excited to see the meals come to life from this. I hope you are too. So I am going to cook 4 portions, I think, of lentil soup for some lunches this week. And that is just going to be with half the bag of this bag of red lentils, so 250 grams of red lentils, a few carrots, an onion, and I've got a stock cube, which is an essential from my cupboard. So if you haven't watched these videos before, I use essentials, so like spices and stock cubes and that sort of thing. I count those as essentials and don't count those into the budget. However, if I were going to, a singular stock cube is only going to cost a couple of pence. So I don't feel too bad about that, regardless, even if you don't agree. So, yes, I am going to go ahead and start making this soup. So just adding some oil to the pan here before I add in my onions, and I'm going to let them simmer till they turn translucent. And at the same time, I'm then going to be chopping up some carrots and popping them in there with that. So you can see I did two quite big ones and put that in there. And then once those had kind of simmered for a bit, I added some water just to soften the carrots a little bit there. And I just was giving that a good mix, and then I added in a little bit more water before I added in my lentils, and this was half the bag, so about 250 grams of the lentils, and I gave that a good mix with a stock cube as well. You can't see me add it, but I did. And then I just transferred that after it had kind of half an hour on the hob to my blender, and I added it all in there. And I blended this, I'm going to say about 3 times on the soup setting, just to give it a really nice smooth consistency. Obviously you can have it thicker than that if you'd like, but I wanted it nice and smooth. And then it ended up being really thick and delicious and filling, and I was so pleased with it. So very good meal. And the next meal I made was fried rice with soya chunk chicken pieces. So first things first, I'm adding the soya chunks to a pan with a vegan oxo chicken stock cube and some water, and I just let that simmer on the hob for around 10 minutes to cook those soya chunks. And then I air fried them. So what I did was added oil and garlic, onion, and thyme, and then I air fried that for about 15 minutes and shook it halfway through. And while that was air frying, I added oil to my wok, and I added the carrots, and then I added cabbage and let those cook a little bit before I added some water to soften them. Then in another pan, I added some oil again and the whole block of tofu. I crumbled this with my hands first, and then I added some black salt to make it taste eggy, as well as some turmeric and some garlic granules as well. And then finally some paprika to give that a bit of flavour, and some sesame oil. And then I just mixed everything together when it was all cooked. So there's the rice going in with the veggies, and then I also added in the tofu once that was cooked as well, gave it a good stir. And then I did a couple of spritzes of soy sauce in there as well. And this is the final meal. It was so filling. It made 5 portions and it was delicious. So I definitely recommend that. Next is breakfast. I'm making porridge. So I've got 30 grams of oats just going into my bowl there before I add in a banana. And yes, I am adding that in before I cook it because I love to have the banana cooked. I think it makes it taste so sweet and delicious. And then I just add 50 grams of the frozen blueberries as well. And I was boiling some water while I was doing this. Once the kettle was boiled, I added in that water and microwaved it for about 4 minutes, and it came out purple, sweet and delicious. I'd recommend this. Next were the burrito bowls, which was so simple. So I chopped the sweet potato and oven cooked them. I added my beans and some bay leaves to a pan, and then that was literally it because I chopped up some cucumber, scooped out some guac. Easy and delicious. Now this is the next breakfast. So it's all the same ingredients. So I added banana, oats, blueberries, the frozen ones, that is, and then some tap water all to my blender before I blended this up nicely. And this was so good, so tasty. I added some ice to my cup as well, and that was literally it. Not as filling as the porridge, but very good. And then finally, I've got the dahl here. So I'm adding oil to my pan with some onions again and letting those get fragrant. And at the same time, while that's cooking, I'm just adding my rice to a pan here to cook at the same time. And then I add garam masala to my onions as they're frying, along with some paprika and some turmeric. And then I added in some garlic granules as well, and I gave that a good dose. And then I just stirred it all around and let that fry off in the pan, becoming really fragrant for a couple of minutes. And then I added some water to that, as well as adding the water to my rice and letting that start to cook, of course. And I'm just giving those onions a really good mix before I add in my red lentils. And I probably added, I want to say, 175 grams of red lentils here. And I'm just giving it a really good mix before I add the chopped tomatoes. I actually only added 1 can of chopped tomatoes in here, and then half a can of some more hot water. And again, just giving that a really good stir, and it looked like it could be a little bit thicker, so just added in some more lentils and then stirred that in, and I was letting that cook on the hob for about 25 minutes, I'd say. So I added in some salt and also a stock cube, and then just let that simmer for about 25 to 30 minutes. And then I added some hot water to a pan and added in some chopped cabbage. I then added oil and seasonings once that was cooked, and that's the meal. And it was so good, filling, and delicious. So that is everything I ate this week. And I have to say, once again, I really enjoyed the meals. My highlight, I think, was the burrito bowl because I had guacamole in there and I just love sweet potato. Like, I just think everything about that meal was delicious. But also the dahl. Shout out to the dahl, because I was thinking like, oh, is that a bit of a boring meal to show, to like eat multiple times because it's really simple. But it just reminded me that sometimes simple meals are just the most delicious, because it reminded me how much I love dahl. I haven't had it for so long, so I was really happy with that. We'll say for the breakfasts, porridge, having it the porridge way, those ingredients, rather than the smoothie. The porridge was much more filling. So I actually snacked on some carrots throughout the week as well. When I had the smoothie for breakfast specifically, I was more hungry before lunchtime. So that is something to bear in mind. And maybe I just didn't put enough oats in, because I think I probably put less oats in the smoothie than I did in the porridge, just because you don't want it to be too like gritty. But it was nice to have that option as well, particularly because we've had some sunny days in Bristol this week. So it's been nice to have some smoothies as well. In terms of the budget, like I said, I spent £14.91 this week, and I have loads of food left over. So rice wise, I've got over half the bag of the kilo of rice left. And by the way, a fried rice made so much. I had 5 portions of the fried rice just from that one clip that I made. So I think if you're feeding a crowd, fried rice, way to go, because it's so yummy. It feels a bit naughty, like fake away sort of vibes, but so yummy, so filling, especially when you've got like the soya that I made into chicken, like the soya chunks as well. Actually, very protein heavy, that meal. Absolutely delicious. So, actually, I've just said my favorite meals, but the fried rice, I'd almost forgotten about it. It was so good. So, all of the meals, I've outdone myself this week. 10 out of 10 to me. So, in terms of what I've got left, I've got over half the bag of the kilo rice left. I have got well over half of the porridge oats left. So that will do me for a good while longer as well. I have got some soya chunks left. I think probably like 2 more servings left. I've got a couple of carrots. So I think that's what I've got left. But if you're thinking about doing this and then carrying food over and then having the next week £15 budget again, like it's just going to take it so much further. You're going to build a pantry, you're going to build staples in your freezer, and you'll be able to get so much more variety into your diet. So I would recommend doing these £15 challenges, and it would be really interesting to see how much you build up over a few weeks. So if you want to see me do that at any point, do let me know. Next week, I am gonna do a bit of a different video because I now just have so much in my cupboards. Like obviously there's two of us and I'm only doing these meal plans for one or for both of us for kind of half the week. So we've been buying other things and it's just overwhelming at this point. Our freezer is full, like there's loads going on in the pantry. So I think next week I'm going to do a bit of a reset, a bit of a use up video before I get back to the £15 challenges, because there are still more supermarkets to do. So don't worry, they're not going anywhere, but I don't want to be wasting food or just having like just an insane amount in the cupboards. It stresses me out a bit. It's just like clutter. When I know there's good food and then I'm going out and buying more, it just seems, even if I'm not wasting it, if it's cupboard essentials, I don't know. I personally, it stresses me out. So next week, you will not have a £15 video, but you will have a video, and then we will continue the next week and just give my grocery shopping a bit of a break. So that is everything on there. But if you were sticking around to hear my personal news, then this is when I'm going to say it. So if you're not, then thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and off you go. And for those who are interested in what I'm about to say, I've had some really exciting news this week. Myself and my partner went to Bordeaux for a long weekend, took 2 days of leave from work, and we just did it either side of the weekend for our anniversary. And that was something that I booked for us as a Christmas present for my partner, because we love doing little trips and having something to look forward to, you know. But actually, he then went and completely surprised me because he proposed on that trip. So I am now engaged. It's been such an exciting time. I won't have any wedding planning content for quite some time because we think we're going to have a bit of a longer engagement, just to give us time to process everything and also to save up. But future frugal vegan wedding content in the making, because we definitely want it all to be entirely vegan, our wedding. So that's really exciting. So I thought I would just let you know. And also my intro is going to be changing. I didn't do it this week, but in future it will be I live with my fiance who's not vegan, but eats vegan with me. So yeah, that's just something personal I wanted to share. It's something really big in my life that's been happening this week. Obviously, you can tell from my face, I could not be happier. I would love to show you the ring, but it's currently being resized, so I will do that at a later date. But yeah, that's my news. Could not be happier. Vegan wedding pending. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!